The laughter started the moment Emily Harper walked into Lincoln High's cafeteria. Her shoes, scuffed white sneakers with frayed laces and peeling soles, squeaked against the polished floor as if begging for attention. "Nice kicks, Em." A boy at the nearest table called out. "Did your grandma wear those in the 80s? The cafeteria erupted in snickers. Emily forced a smile, cheeks burning. She kept walking, hugging her tray like a shield. She found her usual seat at the far end of the room, where her best friend Zoe waved her over. "Don't listen to them," Zoe whispered, leaning across the table. "They wouldn't know style if it smacked them in the face." But Emily did listen. She always listened. The whispers followed her everywhere: hand-me-down girl, thrift store queen, charity case. Her clothes were second-hand, handed down from cousins, neighbors, and even donations from the church. Nothing matched. The faded jeans were always too long or too short, and the sweaters smelled faintly of someone else's detergent. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that Emily didn't just wear clothes. She studied them. The seams, the stitches, the patterns, the way fabric flowed. Every night, after homework, she filled a worn-out notebook with sketches of clothes she wished she could wear: bold jackets, flowing dresses, sneakers that actually looked cool. And that notebook, hidden under her mattress, was the one thing that kept her going when the laughter felt too loud. That night, Emily sat cross-legged on her bed, a pencil smudging her fingertips as she traced out the lines of a denim jacket with embroidered stars across the back. Her little brother peeked in. "Still drawing clothes?" he asked, munching on a granola bar. Emily quickly closed the notebook. "Homework." "Sure," he said with a grin. "Homework with glitter buttons." After he left, Emily sighed. She loved designing, but what was the point? She couldn't afford new clothes, let alone fabrics or a sewing machine. The dream felt like staring at a locked door with no key, but Zoe had noticed. At lunch the next day, Zoe leaned in. "So, I may have gone through your sketchbook when I was at your house last week." Emily's eyes widened. "You what?" "Relax. I didn't tell anyone. But, your stuff is amazing. Like, actual fashion designer amazing." Emily shook her head. "It's just doodles." "No. It's talent. And I think you should share it." "Share it where?" "The internet, duh. Post them on Insta. Or start a blog. Do it anonymously if you want." Emily hesitated. The idea of people seeing her work both thrilled and terrified her. But later that night, staring at her stack of sketches, something inside her whispered, "What if Zoe's right?" She created an Instagram account under the name Designs. No photos of herself, just the drawings, crisp pencil sketches scanned with her phone. The first post read, "Dreaming of clothes that make you feel unstoppable." For weeks, nothing happened. A few likes here and there, mostly from bots. Emily was about to give up when Zoe sent her a text in all caps, "Check your account right now." Emily opened Instagram. Her latest post, a design for high-top sneakers with rainbow laces, had blown up overnight. Thousands of likes. Hundreds of comments. People tagging friends. Fashion bloggers sharing it. One comment stood out: "Whoever you are, you're the future of fashion. Don't stop." Her hands shook as she scrolled. Somehow, her quiet sketches, the ones she hid from the world, had found their way into the spotlight, and for the first time, Emily didn't feel like the thrift store girl. She felt like someone. 2 months later, the email arrived. Emily nearly deleted it, assuming it was spam. But the subject line froze her breath. Invitation, Young Designers Showcase, New York Fashion Week. They had seen her Instagram. They wanted her to submit designs. If selected, she would get to model her own clothes in a live runway show. Emily stared at the screen, her heart pounding. New York Fashion Week? Me, but reality crashed in just as fast. She had no fabric, no money, no way to actually make the clothes she'd drawn. Zoe, however, wasn't letting her give up. "We'll figure it out," she said fiercely. "There are thrift stores. There's fabric at Goodwill. We can sew. You've been preparing for this moment your whole life without even realizing it. And so, late at night in Zoe's garage, armed with borrowed sewing machines, scissors, and mountains of thrifted fabric, Emily began turning sketches into reality. Every stitch was imperfect. Every mistake forced her to improvise. But the clothes started to come alive. And with them, so did Emily's belief in herself. Word spread faster than Emily could have imagined. Someone at school had stumbled across the viral Designs account and connected the dots. By Monday morning, whispers followed her down the hall. Do you think it's really her? No way. Hand me down, Emily? She can't even afford new shoes. At lunch, Ashley, the self-proclaimed queen of Lincoln high fashion, sauntered over to Emily's table. So, Ashley drawled, flicking her perfect blonde hair. You expect us to believe you're this mystery designer everyone's talking about? Emily froze. Zoe jumped in before she could speak. She doesn't have to prove anything to you. Ashley smirked. Good, because nobody's buying it. You? A designer? Please. You can't even wear clothes right. The cafeteria erupted in laughter again. But this time, something was different. Instead of curling in on herself, Emily thought of the thousands of strangers online who loved her work. The laughter still stung, but it didn't break her. Not anymore. Nights blurred into dawns in Zoe's garage. The little space looked like chaos as fabric scraps piled everywhere, pins scattered like confetti, thread tangling around chair legs. Emily pricked her fingers raw, sewing and resewing. One dress came out lopsided, another jacket's zipper broke. But with each mistake, she grew sharper, faster, more determined. Her mom peeked in one night, eyes wide. Emily. Did you make all of this? Emily hesitated, bracing for disapproval. But instead, her mom stepped forward, touching the hem of a half-finished skirt. Her voice cracked. Honey, this is beautiful. I had no idea. Something in Emily softened. For so long she'd hidden this part of herself. But now it was bursting into the open, undeniable. The pressure, however, was crushing. 1 week before the showcase, disaster struck. Emily was working on her centerpiece design, a flowing white dress embroidered with stars. When the fabric tore straight down the middle, she burst into tears, clutching the ruined dress. I can't do this. I'm not ready. Everyone's going to laugh at me. Zoe sat beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Listen to me. You've already done the impossible. You took sketches in a notebook and made them real. Who cares if it's not perfect? It's yours. That's what matters. Emily wiped her eyes. Slowly, she picked up her needle again. The night of the showcase, Emily stood backstage, heart thundering. Models strutted past in glittering gowns and sleek suits. She glanced down at herself, her own handmade jacket, jeans she'd reworked, sneakers she'd painted with metallic swirls. Her name was called. Spotlights blinded her as she stepped onto the runway. For a moment, fear almost swallowed her. Then she saw the crowd. Rows of cameras, reporters, influencers, and in the front row, strangers cheering for her. She took a deep breath and walked. Each step echoed louder than the cafeteria laughter, louder than Ashley's voice, louder than every doubt she'd ever carried. By the time she reached the end of the runway, the crowd was on their feet. Applause thundered. Cameras flashed. Her designs, born from thrift store scraps and late-night sketches, had come alive, and Temille Harper, the girl once mocked for hand-me-downs, had just walked the runway in her very own brand. Emily woke up the next morning to chaos. Her phone buzzed non-stop with notifications. Her runway clip had gone viral overnight. Fashion blogs were writing headlines like, High schooler stuns Fashion Week with handmade collection. Meet the teen behind Designs. At school, everything felt upside down. The same kids who once snickered at her thrift store sweaters were now gawking. Emily, are those your designs? Yo, can you sign my hoodie? You're famous now, huh? Even Ashley, queen of cruel remarks, looked rattled. She cornered Emily by her locker. "So? Congrats, I guess," Ashley said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "But don't let it go to your head. One little show doesn't make you a designer." Emily smiled softly. For the first time, Ashley's words didn't sting. "Maybe not," she said. "But it makes me me. And that's enough." That night, Emily came home to find her mom waiting at the kitchen table. There was a seriousness in her eyes Emily hadn't seen before. "I saw you," her mom said quietly. "On TV. On the runway." Emily's throat tightened. She braced herself for criticism, but instead, her mom reached across the table, taking her hand. "I used to dream too, you know. I wanted to be a singer. But life got in the way. Bills. Responsibilities. I never wanted that for you. I just didn't want you to get hurt." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. "Mom, I don't need everything to be easy. I just need you to believe in me." For a long moment, they sat in silence. Then her mom squeezed her hand. "I do, Emily. I always have. I just didn't say it enough." Emily felt lighter than she had in years. The following week, posters went up around town. Local teen designer Emily Harper featured in National Fashion magazine. Ashley wasn't having it. At lunch, she marched up with her entourage and sneered, "You only got attention because people pity you." Hand me down Emily, the charity case turned designer. The cafeteria went silent. For years, Emily had been the punchline. But this time, she stood tall. "Maybe that's how it started," Emily said evenly. "But I turned scraps into something worth wearing." "What have you done, Ashley, besides tear people down?" Gasps filled the room. Even Ashley's friends looked away. For once, Ashley had no comeback. She stormed off, red-faced, while Zoe leaned over and whispered, "Mic drop." Emily grinned. The girl who once hid behind her notebook had finally found her voice. 2 weeks later, Emily stood on stage at a press conference. Reporters jostled for photos, lights flashing. She took a deep breath. "When I started designing, I signed my work as Designs because I was scared. Scared people would laugh, or tell me I wasn't good enough." She paused, scanning the crowd. "But I don't want to hide anymore. My name is Emily Harper. And this is just the beginning." The room erupted in applause. Later that night, Emily walked past the old thrift store where she'd once felt ashamed to shop. Now, she smiled at the racks of fabric and colors. They weren't symbols of embarrassment anymore, they were raw materials for her future. Her phone buzzed with a message from a major fashion brand offering a mentorship. But Emily didn't need validation anymore, because she finally knew her uniqueness was her power, and she'd never trade it for approval again. The end. My name is Temille Deebs. Please subscribe and make sure to click on the notification button to know when we upload a new video. Also like, share and comment your thoughts. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video.